This is the soup, vegetable soup made by a friend of a family member of a family member. Okay, this person makes homemade potatoes, stewed tomatoes in a can, a frozen bag of green beans and carrots, a bag of corn or a can of corn, hamburger, really good soup, and kidney beans. Kidney beans in the vegetable soup with beef broth, okay? That's how she makes the soup. Big chunks of hamburger, and it was really good. Okay. So, okay, I want to give you a preview. I'm going to do reviews of these products, okay? So stay tuned. This is Mission Tortilla Rounds. Amish made corn salsa. Come on, focus. Amish mild salsa. Earlier, I put some soup beans in the crock pot. Okay. These soup beans are from Wayne's house. They're a mixture of brown and white beans. Okay, I'm going to make some cornbread. And the family member of a family member gave Mom some of this Miss Campbell's chow chow. We'll do a little bit of a review of that. So we'll look forward to that. These are reviews of these products. I'm going to do reviews of my products that I use in my camper. Do some reviews of these things. Man, ooh, hot. Mom fixed a little bit of that soup for herself. Okay, everybody. Wanted you to see this stuff. So just wanted you to know I'm going to do reviews of this stuff, so be watching for it. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know. These are previews of things to come. How's everybody else doing on the live stream? Glad to see everyone. My phone is messed up. My phone has been giving me a hard time. It doesn't have any memory for some reason. It doesn't want to upload any memory. So. Okay. I'm going to go on YouTube. We'll go on the news. Okay, now, guys, Colin Powell has died. Hey, the soup is relative. It is. It's relative. Jesse Scott sure is. Colin Powell died from complications of COVID-19, but it wasn't because of the failure of the vaccine.
It wasn't because of that. See, even if you have the vaccine, you can still die. Next in the news, Hooters. And apparently the servers at Hooters are complaining about the shorts. The shorts are too short at Hooters. The servers have shared their complaints on TikTok. And I read somewhere that they have changed their policy. I think it's really sexist, you know? It's news at 4 with Joni. Yes. Who is it saying that? Mandy, good to see you. Okay, Colin Powell. Okay. SEC hits Tennessee with a $250,000 fine after fans throw trash on the field during Ole Miss game. So apparently they might be in the process of changing their policy about the uniforms because so many people have complained. Teen son accidentally records the moment dad walks in on him doing his makeup. I'm always with you. Hooters adjusts policy to make controversial new uniform optional. So apparently, Hooters has made the new uniform optional. So they're not going to make the girls wear the short shorts. I think this whole thing of women wearing short shorts in a place at a job is just sexist anyway. It's like girls are being objectified, you know? Yeah, after ugly scene in Knoxville, how should Tennessee be punished? Okay, let's talk about some politics. There was a brawl at the Panthers Vikings game that went viral. Okay, now these are the things. The weather today. Richmond, Kentucky. 68 degrees. Fox News anchor John Roberts deleted a tweet that questioned vaccine efficiency in light of Colin Powell's death. So, questions about Colin Powell's death. Do y'all know who Colin Powell is? Colin Powell used to be the Surgeon General. I like this cooler weather too. Leah Simpson. Okay, Jessica Alba, 40. Okay, that's just an advertisement. Sorry. Okay. Okay, now for the news. Woo, brother. This portion brought to you in part by L81, Kentucky's local soft drink, since 1926. Bottled under the authority of L81 of America, Incorporated, Winchester, Kentucky, 40391, by an authorized producer. Product of the USA. L800, zero sugar, zilch, nil, nada. L810 soft drink, zero sugar, 100% Kentucky. I am up the road from Roger Brown. That is where I am. It is a fruit-based ginger ale produced in Winchester, Kentucky, approximately 30 miles from where I'm at. I'm in Richmond, Kentucky, the next county over from Winchester. Winchester is Clark County. That's Winchester, the neighboring county over, where they produce the L8. Sound and vision. Doesn't matter how much space you have to live in. You got your own tiny space or whatever, it's still a space. Okay, on to the rest of the news. On to the rest of the news. Melton John is on. Say go on and talk. Woo, brother! It's time for you to give your super chat unto me. I've got to get paid. Woo! Pepsi was born in North Carolina. Duda Bites, good to see you. The Duda Bites. Oh my god, look, really, for sure, totally. Woo, brother. The super chat is open. I needs to get paid. It needs to get paid. Okay. Ted Cruz blasted Australia's COVID rules. A top Australian official didn't hold back. So, Ted Cruz blasted Australia's COVID rules. What are Australia's COVID rules? Let's see. Ted Cruz blasted Australia's COVID rules. A top Australian official didn't hold back. The chief minister of the Northern Territory, according to Fort Worth Star Telegraph. The Fort Worth Star Telegraph, according to that, Ted Cruz, he made the Chief Minister of the Northern Territory of Australia, responded to comments made by Senator Ted Cruz about the strict rules to protect people against COVID. So the Republicans and people are really against strict COVID rules. They don't like the COVID rules. They don't want the big government telling them what to do about COVID. I thought Chris was going to block me earlier for asking about his crabs. Dude of Abiding is here. Okay. TikTok melts over toddler's adorable candy corn costume. The kid's dressed up as candy corn. Okay, now in sports. Notre Dame climbs in AP top 25 poll. Okay, there's something called the big resignation. The big quit. Or the big resignation. The big quit or... called the big quit or the big resignation. Oh, cute. A mouse. Okay, workers according to the Make It by CNBC. According to CNBC, Jen Lim, Jen, J-E-N-N-L-I-M, Lim, CEO of Delivering Happiness and author of the latest book, Beyond Happiness, about building a more sustainable workplace. Okay. Jennifer Liu, that's L-I-U, Make It by CNBC. This article is a CNBC. You want to give proper credit. Workers quitting en masse is a great thing, says workplace happiness expert. Here's why. So a lot of, during the summer, spring, summer, and up till now even, quitting, the mass quitting of jobs, as the pandemic wanes down, the mass quitting of jobs. The economy is still recovering from the pandemic. People during the pandemic have realized they want to be happy. They're tired of corporate bigwigs exploiting the working class. Corporate bigwigs and wealthy people, wealthy corporations have been exploiting workers for years. Corporate bigwigs have been exploiting poor workers for years, working them hard, not giving the people the choice to work when and where they want to, making slaves out of the people, what they call corporate slaves or what they call it wage slavery. They call it wage slavery. the big corporations and wealthy people exploiting working class people, people working at Walmart 40 hours a week, working people part time so they don't have to give them benefits. If you work somebody part time or work somebody temporary as a temporary employee, you don't have to give them benefits. You don't have to give people benefits if you work them part time or work them temporary. So they work people part time, work people as temporary workers so they don't have to give them benefits. And they know that the people depend upon their job, like a poor woman, a poor immigrant woman with 5 kids. She has to support her kids. She works at a company that gives her a job as a temporary worker. And she gets to work her butt off, but she didn't get any benefits. That's what you'll call wage slavery and exploitation of poor workers. And so, a record number of Americans quit their jobs throughout the spring, summer, and summer months. Okay, and people are quitting in mass. Around 11 million people quit their jobs over 3 months starting in April 2021. Many of these people didn't even have another job to go to. And when I started watching Elvis Travels, I was still working. I was working in an office doing data entry work. I started listening to Elvis Travels, and he met with Rosie O'Kelly, and I was working at the office 10 hours a day. And I liked it because I was by myself. I sat at my own cubicle. I did my data entry. And while I was doing my data entry, sitting in my cubicle, I would turn on my headphones and I would listen to Elvis Travels doing his rants, doing his great rants. His rants in 2019 and early 2020 and late 2019. When he met up with Rosie O'Kelly when she met Elvis Travels in Los Algodones. That's where Elvis was getting his teeth worked on in Los Algodones, Mexico. And he was in Yuma, Arizona, boondocking in the Lisa Marie. And Rosie doubted as to whether the Lisa Marie would make it over the El Cajon Pass. Going over the El Cajon... How bad interviews in HR is. I imagine it's bad. Yeah, exactly, dude abides. But, in shock and disbelief, the Lisa Marie made it successfully over the El Cajon Pass into California. Went to the rancho. Elvis Travels met Rosie, and Elvis Travels was on the legendary rancho. And he stayed in the Shine Shack, and the great van build began. And I was doing my data entry work at the office, and Elvis Travels was doing his mini rants. And I'd never heard of Elvis Travels before. But then I started listening to him and his talk about the ham and eggers and how you can have a better life living in a van, in an RV in late 2019. It gave me a hope of a better life. You can work when and where you want to. And if you want to quit your job and go to Florida, you can quit. And then you can take up work when you want to. That gives people the hope of a better life, I have a little anxiety, yes. I guess I do have anxiety. I'm on medicine. Oh, Viva Bajarson. I don't want to butcher your name, Viva Bajarson. Yiva. Sorry, Yiva. Yiva, I do not want to butcher your name. I do too, yes. I have anxiety. I take Paxil. Paxil is my medicine that I take. Yeah, I do have anxiety. It makes me feel a little better to rock back and forth. It helps me a little. Instead, I'm jerking my shoulders to do nervous ticks. But Elvis Travels. I didn't quit my job. I got unemployment. They had what they call reduction in force. In February of 2020, they sent us home with computers. They sent us home with computers in early 2020, in February 2020, or March. They sent us home with computers. We took our computers home. We worked from home until May 2020. And in May 2020, I got a phone call telling me not to clock in because it's called reduction in force. Because of the pandemic, there's a reduction in labor. There's not as much work, so it's downsizing. So I got unemployment because they were downsizing. I was doing data entry. I had 2 computer screens, and I had health insurance forms and things like that. I would type those all day, data entry work. So what happened was I got unemployment and the pandemic stimulus money and all this stuff. So now I'm looking for a job doing something. I'd like to get back into data entry work or Elvis Travels. Yeah. They made a documentary about life in a few years called Idiocracy. I'll have to look at that at the Dudabites. Trump will be just a head in a jar ruling the world. That would be funny. But anyway, all these people have decided what they want to do, working remotely or whatever it is. People want to, the people matter. Even that poor immigrant woman working to support her 5 kids. She needs to get the days off that she wants to get working at a corporate slavery job. People need to get off the days they want to get off. People's events, life events matter, Working especially in stores and in jobs. These jobs, working at these jobs, the people don't matter when the corporate exploitation. I call it wage exploitation. They exploit the workers and don't give the workers time off and benefits and things they need. People deserve to get off from work when they need to get off for events and things. People need to control their own lives instead of having a corporate exploitation to exploit the workers. Sure, we need to work. Sure, we need jobs. Of course we do. You may end up jumping from job to job. I've jumped from job to job for a long time, but in between all these years of quitting jobs and working at a bunch of different jobs, I had a job at a grocery store called Kroger. I worked there for 11 years. I worked there at Kroger grocery store from 2007 to 2018. I worked for 11 years at Kroger. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jesse Scott. Yeah, everybody deserves to get off when they need something, Maybe not just because you're drunk and you're, a person's drunk and they're, hungover. I can understand that you can't just take off whenever you want to, but people matter too. Corporate, matters, but people matter too, and the workers matter, The lives of the workers matter. That's what matters. These people's lives matter too, not just corporations. People need to have a say in their lives and what they do. Not, be slaves. People need a say in what they do. Are you trying to get your steps in? Steps? What steps? What steps, Dudabites? What steps are you talking about? You mean steps for the camper? Footsteps? Yeah, I'm trying to get my footsteps in. A little bit. I rode my bike today. That was my exercise for today. Yeah. So, I guess that van life, the hope of van life is yeah, I am just nervous habits and stuff. Oh, yeah, I'm just, excitement or anxiety or excitement or whatever it is. Just rocking back and forth like the comfort for people with anxiety, So it's basically, I guess the point that, I guess that's the point of the van life and RV life. Is the new shelf in? Yeah, dude, about it's in. Here it is. My new shelf is up, and I've got some goodies up there on my new shelf. There it is. And it's made to match that one over there. I have my wood stove, but it's not turned on. If I was going to have my wood stove coming up straight to the ceiling. Oh, thank you, Dudabides. Thank you. I worked on it. You know, I tried to get the wood smooth. And there's my model. My model over here. My truck can. Put stuff over there. Yeah, due to buds. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I can make curtains for you. I don't mind doing that. You think it would be okay to run the smoke pipe, run the stove pipe up through the ceiling and run my wood stove to knock the chill off? Oh, that sounds good, the due to buds. We can go pick up the fabric. That sounds nice. Where do you live at? Yeah, we can go pick up fabric. Oh, okay, that sounds good. We're going to pick up the fabric online or whatever you want to do. However you want to pick out the fabric, you know. The weather is starting to get chilly. It's going to start getting a little chilly, you know. Okay. Oh, okay, I understand. In Florida. But, so, yeah, that was some of the news for today. So. I think people are buying vans. They don't want to pay rent, you know. People are not wanting to pay rent. They want to put in money into something that they actually own, you know. And that's what Coates said last night, you know. You know, Coates said that on his channel last night or whatever. That people, you know, he wants to, instead of paying $1,200 a month for rent, he wants to put money into something that he owns, like a van, you know. Whatever it means to have ownership or something, you know. That's what I like about van life and RV life and tiny house life too. Tiny house life. My email, the dude abides. If you don't have it, Joni Cheryl, JoniCheryl, JoniCheryl74 @gmail.com. That's JoniCheryl74 @gmail.com. That's my email address. You can play back this live stream and if you didn't get it. So, but I'd love to do that. I don't mind. If you want piping around the edges, like this has the cord piping around the edges. See, here is where the cord piping comes to an end. See, that's where the piping comes to an end. The end of the cord piping. So. I can do the piping or not, you know. You saw how mine come out, how mine turned out. I can do a video, an instructional video. Hello. Nothing, I'm live. Can I call you back in a few minutes? Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. You can send me pictures of the balances, and I'll make a video telling you how to hang them. How to hang the curtain. I'll make instructional videos on how to do it. Okay, enough silliness. Enough weird silliness. The most significant benefit of working outside the office, roughly 40% of workers say they want to continue working remotely. 40% of workers say okay. Okay. After I get off this live stream, I'll look at those pictures, the Duda Bites. I'll look and then I'll email you back. I'd have to use I've got Gmail on my cell phone. Hours of my life I'm never going to get back. People talk about hours of their lives. I work 100% remotely. I never go back to an office. I don't blame you a bit. Okay. USA Today. Hours of my life I'm never going to get back. As offices reopen, workers resist bringing back the commute. When Wendy White, 57, quit her job in March, her company's insistence employees return to the office in the midst of a pandemic. Public transportation while COVID was spreading. Job offers. The woman said she's commuted in and out of New York City for 30 years since she's done. Excuse me. They're shedding the commute. They want to work from home. They see commuting as wasting their time and adding to the stress levels. They can do their jobs really well from home. Commuting can be costly. Average commuter spent 54 minutes getting back and forth to work each day. 4.6 hours a week commuting. So people spend a lot of time driving and commuting. You're just wasting a lot of your time. People just don't want to go back to the other old way of living. So basically, a lot of people don't want to go back to the commute. Yeah, working's good. I don't mind working. I just don't want to do that. And I guess I worked in the public, and I don't like to work in. I hate working in the public. People are nasty, and it's just like, I'll show you. Okay. 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 Here's this. I want to read this to you. This is from something called The Insider. Okay, and this is why, the grocery store and retail industry is bad. Our company is never going back to office work. We are keeping one central office for employees to use to get togethers, but once things settle down. Well, that's good, the Duda Bites. That's really good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. How the simple phrase, the customer is always right, gave shoppers a license to abuse workers. That gave customers and shoppers a license to abuse workers. It's a license to abuse store workers. That phrase, the customer is always right. And I worked at one grocery store for 11 years, and I'm just tired. I'm glad I'm gone. Okay, but basically, that phrase, the customer is always right, has given, American shoppers, that is the big phrase. In American shoppers, the customer is always right. That the customer is never wrong. It's given the workers, it's given the customers a license to abuse workers. It's baked into the American shopping experience, and it's dangerous. A sense of entitlement among shoppers. Shoppers having a sense of entitlement led to aggression and even violence toward retail workers. We've gone past the point where the retailer was in charge. The retailer used to be in charge of the business. But now the retailer's not in charge anymore. The customer's in charge. The retailer's not in charge anymore. The customer's in charge, basically. The customer is never wrong, and it's the customer that's in charge. The times when I got into it with customers at Kroger's, at the store, they just, that my supervisors and bosses, they supported the customer. They sided with the customer, Basically, I felt like I didn't have any rights, And that's just another way of corporate wage slavery, where the customer is so right that they'll penalize a worker, write up a worker. If you get into it with the customer, you're automatically in trouble if you get into it with the customer. And they had this policy at Kroger's that you have to speak to the customer and greet the customer. It's just all centered around the customer, So basically, it's just make the customer happy no matter what. It's not good. My office is my pickup truck, farm, and produce market trailer. Benefits of being self-employed, that's really nice, Jesse Scott. I'm glad. That's good for you, Jesse Scott. I'm glad to hear that, Jesse Scott. Basically, I don't like the idea of the customer being in charge. The customer is always right is a really dangerous ideology where the customer is always right. Such an excuse to abuse workers, Wikipedia, wage slavery. Wikipedia, this is wage slavery according to Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia. Wage slavery is the term used to describe a situation where a person's livelihood depends on wages or a salary, especially when the wages are low. And the person has few realistic chances of upward mobility. So they don't have many chances of upward mobility. This sounds good. Yeah, personal passions. The term is sometimes used to criticize exploitation of labor and social stratification. Hello, Chris Bliss, how are you? Where the former is seen primarily as unequal bargaining power between labor and capital, particularly when workers are paid comparatively low wages, like sweatshops, and the latter is a lack of workers and self-management. So the workers don't get to manage themselves. the workers don't get to manage themselves. They don't have any control over their own lives. Yeah, they don't have any control over their own lives, And social stratification and exploitation of labor, where the capital, the money is all in the hands of the upper management, They own all the money and power, and the workers don't really have any choices or anything, and especially where they can just fire you for this or that, The criticism of social stratification covers a wider range of employment choices bound by the pressures of a hierarchical society to perform otherwise unfulfilling work that deprives humans of their species character, not only under the threat of starvation, poverty, or also social stigma and status, diminution, a lessening degree of reduction. Diminished, Social status, diminishing of social status. So diminishing social status of the worker. The worker has low social status because the social stigma and the social stratification. The social stratification, people, socioeconomic statuses, and that the management that have control over the workers have a high status, and those who work make low wages and don't have any power over their lives. So they're part of a wage slavery system where they don't have choices, It's a hierarchical system that you're never going to get ahead. So it's like in India. It's the caste system. Oh, thank you, the Dudabites. Maybe I should have been a teacher. The point is I can understand why a lot of poorer people that don't have really good jobs want to live van life. And people like Marshall, Elvis Travels, he doesn't want to live under someone's thumb telling him what to do. Because a lot of these kind of jobs that you work at, lower paying jobs, and it's true, lower paying jobs, you're never going to have any kind of, you're never going to move up in life. You're not going to have anything. You're not going to have any control over anything. People want to manage themselves. Workers, self-management, labor management, organizational self-management, based on self-directed work processes as part of organization's workforce. Self-management is definition and character of socialism. You manage yourself. You don't have somebody standing over you telling you what to do. You manage yourself and decide for yourself when and what you want to do. And that was some of the store jobs I had. I got to do that. I got to work on my own, Oh, yes, I've got a book with selections of that. Selections from Walden. I want the whole book, but I have this little book here. I'll show you. It's selections from Walden. I'll show you. I like all that kind of stuff. It's a little book, and it's just the highlights. It's the highlights of Walden. Oh, good, the Dudabites. Thank you so much. The whole ebook right now. I appreciate that. That's good. Yeah, I like that. And here, I'll show you something else that I've been reading. The Stranger in the Woods. The Extraordinary Story of the Last True Hermit. Michael Finkel. He stole to survive, but he lived in the woods for 27 years. Christopher Knight. And they caught him. It's about Christopher Thomas Knight. The North Pond Hermit in Maine. Street Life. Hey, this is about somebody that lived in your neck of the woods, Street Life. This is Christopher Knight. Christopher Thomas Knight. The North Pond Hermit in Maine. The North Pond Hermit. He was the guy who lived for 27 years in the woods and was never caught for 27 years. So, it's Christopher Knight, and this is the guy who wrote the book, Michael Finkel. He wrote the book. It's called The Stranger in the Woods in 1986. He had a Subaru Brat that he drove, and he just took a 20-year-old guy, and he drove a Subaru Brat into the woods in Maine. Disappeared into the woods, never to be seen for 27 years. Christopher Knight lived off of abandoned camps. Yeah, he did. This book is all about him. Anyway, this book is all about Christopher Knight. This book is about him. I got the book, so I've been reading it. Anyway, self-management. People just to be able to do what they want to do more. Similarities between wage labor and slavery were noted as early as Cicero in ancient Rome. Yes, thank you. Karl Marx. Thinkers such as Pierre-Joseph Proudhon and Karl Marx elaborated. Even Karl Marx, the communist, Karl Marx elaborated the comparison between wage labor and slavery. While Ledetis emphasized that dehumanization brought about by the machines, people want to be free. That's what I'm saying. You work at a Walmart a lot of the time. Yeah. It is an interesting story. Nantucket, that sounds really cool. If I don't run this very often, this wood stove, you think if this is my revised idea. Nobody knew he was there. That's really cool. Okay. This is my wood stove. Hold on. I don't have the wood stove turned on. I was thinking that I could, you see, I got the pipe straightened out. You think it would be safe for me to run it just a little bit if I... Until he was cooking bacon one morning. Guess they found him, huh? What about this? Do you think if I ran this and elevated it up off the counter? If I elevated it up off the counter and I have the pipe going into the ceiling, do you think it would be safe for me to do it or not? Don't put much wood in it just to knock the chill off when it's cold. It would be free wood to burn, limbs and stuff. What do you guys think? You think I could do it and run my wood stove a little bit or not? Door latch on the stove. I got a thing in there that I can set the wood on. All I have to do put a hole in the ceiling with a bigger thing. Tell me what you think. I'll have to hook all these together. But yeah, freedom of the individual. Work how and where you want to. And people like Marshall, nomads and people have the freedom to work when they want to. They have a little more freedom. Workers do. They're nomads. You live in a tiny home or in a camper or a van. You have freedom. You have freedom to be your own boss more. You may work at diminutive jobs, low-paying jobs, but you still have some control over yourself, Because a wage slave is someone who depends on their livelihood to survive.
You know, and if you can't have that, you're starving. Mhm. Basically. Okay. When I do get some money, I'm going to fix my car here. I need a starter on my car, maybe a transmission someday. But the interior is nice. See? The interior of my car is nice. And I drove it to work and stuff. I just need a starter. The 85 Olds 98 says mileage is 159,000 miles. We may need a transmission. Okay. It's pretty nice. Even the headliner's up. Look, see? Headliner is even up. No tears in the seats. Yeah, let me get my car out and get moving. Moving and driving it. It's my little car. I need to wash it, move it, and get a starter, put on it, and clean it. Clean it and put a starter. It's rare, very rare. Because it's a two-door. If you've seen the Olds 98, you've seen the four-door. I know you've seen the four-door version. Like the Olds touring sedan and the Regency. You know. This is the two-door version. So, two-door version. It's the rare version of the two-door. People thought it was odd and ugly looking because of the fact that it has that rear quarter window. It's kind of odd looking. You know, the rear quarter window is odd. So. '98 Regency Brom. 1985. You just need to put a starter on it. It has air shocks in it, air ride suspension. You see, you have air ride suspension, air shocks in the back. Oh, I'll have to check it out. I'm going to look into the hood. The guy that had this car, that I sold it in 2013, bought it back in 2016. So it was gone a little over 3 years. You can see it's a 3.8 liter V6. He put new hood struts in. It was gone and it went through 3 or 4 owners before I got it back again. Low on antifreeze. It's had a problem with antifreeze leaking and stuff. I need some things done to it. But I need to start it back up and drive it. Honestly, because I need a starter. Fuel injection. And the GMC truck. Trucks are more beneficial than classic cars, you know. Classic cars don't serve that much benefit, you know. But a truck, you can haul your camper, you can make money being a contractor, doing some yard work, you know, and helping people move and make money. Even a classic truck, you can make money. with a classic truck. That's a good thing about a truck. Oh yeah, we're bad for leaking coolant at the intake manifold. Less than 10%, approximately 5% of the Olds 98s. The 85 to 90 Olds 98 body style, the first front wheel drive Olds 98, they made that body style from 85 to 90. Okay. They made that body style from 85 to 90. But they only made the two-door from 85 to 87. They only made the two-door until 87. And they made the four doors up until 90. But they only made the two doors until 87 because the two doors just didn't sell. People didn't like them because they were ugly, I think, because of that rear quarter window. I bought it in 2011. Sold it in 2013. Bought it back in 2016. Transmission had been leaking for years because the original owner, the old lady, died or went to the nursing home. It sat for almost 10 years, and so it killed the transmission seals in the transmission. The grandson put a starter on it, put a fuel pump on it. So the transmission leaked transmission fluid, and I guess when the new owners got it, they didn't always change the transmission fluid or put transmission fluid in it. So it just leaked transmission fluid, and the transmission's been acting funny. I like it. I really like it, and I want to drive it. It has the old, look at the headlights, you see. You see, you've got your old sealed beam headlights and everything. You've got your old-fashioned sealed beam headlights and everything. Old school all the way. Old school all the way. See? You've got your Regency. You've got your Regency emblem and your Brom emblem. See? Brom. Doesn't look the best, but it's a Regency and a Brom emblem. See? You got your Regency Brom emblem there. You got your power windows, power locks. You know, you got your power seat control. Power seat, that's your power seat control. Your power locks, power windows, power seat control. Okay. I took the radio out. You got an electronic climate control. That's an electronic climate control with a thermostat. You know, 98, of course. Velour seat with no velour seats with no leaks, no tears in the velour seats. You got nice original carpet. If anybody wants to buy it, maybe. Now I've got a hood ornament here. I've got a hood ornament, but it's in the house. Somebody done busted my headlights. I don't know how the heck that happened. I think somebody did that. And so I've got my nice little privacy fence. It makes it easier to ignore the neighbors, you know. Make it easier to ignore people. Two people are around, but you can ignore them easier. And there's my restored door. So yes, you always have to have things sealed, you know. You always have to have things sealed up, airtight, watertight, you see. Tell me what you think. Do you think I could run my, okay. Tell me what you think, guys. Tell me if I'm safe with my wood stove. I've straightened out my pipe for my wood stove. And I would have a bigger can on the outside of this can and run it up through the ceiling. Could I do it or not? Well, the street life, if the grid collapsed, I have the wood stove. I mean, for heat. That's a good thing. I've got the wood stove for heat. It's not the healthiest way to heat, but I could survive with if the grid collapsed with my wood stove. What I'm wanting to do is elevate it up off of here. And in the future, I'll get a better wood stove. But you see, I've straightened it out. I've got more cans to add to it. And it's not going to leak air into the camper. All I would have to do, what I'm going to do, the way to support it, lift it up off of here.
It's got a separation from the. Let me see. You think I can run it? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, okay. I can do that then. But a tiny home can be lived in the same as a big home. So being happy with it, living in a tiny home, it's a good thing. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll have a double wall. I've got a bigger can. I'll put on the outside of that can. 2 layers of cans. You don't think it's a good idea? Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't want to burn my ceiling. I want it to be safe. Yeah, I guess it's about surviving, you know. Survival. Yeah, need legs on it or something. Oh yeah, cubic mini. Well, this thing here would only be temporary. This thing here would be temporary, just with legs on it and a metal base, a thick flat piece of metal with legs going up to it. And I can remove the stove when I want to, but I would have another layer, a bigger, thicker can, you know, going through the ceiling. Yeah, it's another layer on top of that one. Yeah, a cubic mini would be awesome. It's just good for survival, you know, surviving. And I've got my stove oven, my stove burner. So, oh, the survival, a street life. When did you put your, what do you call the walls in your camper, the tongue and groove? Did you do that or what? In your RV? That actually looked pretty good. Yeah, I could cook on top of the cubic mini. The Cyrax project. That's really cool, Street Life. It looks good in there. I mean, you did a good job. I've been watching this guy here, Truck House Life. He's got a lot of subscribers. Yeah, this Truck House Life channel. He has a truck house. It's a wooden truck camper. See, on the back of his truck. It sits on the back of his truck. It's a wooden truck camper like a cabin. And see, he's got a lot of subscribers. He goes everywhere with his tiny truck house there. You watch Mav. Mav? I like his video. I liking his video. Mav. Who's Mav? Yeah. Okay, now, Milton John is on right now, live. Yeah, Milton John is live right now. I'm poor. I might turn on Milton John and see what Milton John's doing. So, yeah. It's been over an hour, guys. I'm going to participate. I'll have to look up Mav Street Life. Good to see all these people in here. Nice to see you. I'll come back in a little bit, okay? I'll do some house cleaning, okay? And you can watch me do my house cleaning. I'll see you guys later, guys. Catch you on the flip side.